I like water. Hey, everybody.
Hey, we're back.
We're back from a hiatus.
Is that what it was?
Sure.
Okay.
You moved and my wife had a baby and
Yeah.
so all kinds of crap happened. I moved too right before that.
That's true. It's been a crazy 2 months.
It's been rough. Anyway, episode 14,
Yay!
Film Triggers Podcast.
Oh man, I'm so happy to be talking into a microphone again.
Me too.
Feels like forever. That's probably a song someone wrote sometime.
Sure. Usually is.
Today we're talking about distribution, kind of.
Distribution?
Well, like distribution platforms.
Oh.
Distributors. We're talking about Netflix, Hulu, cable, TV shows, and
so like movies and TV kind of.
Yeah, like the
future of distribution.
Yeah.
We know what that is because we're smarter than literally everyone in Hollywood.
Yeah, that's basically what this whole podcast is about, right? Like, why else would we be doing a podcast unless we felt like we were smarter than the people who aren't doing podcasts?
Well, yeah, you got a point there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, basically, like, over the last year, we've seen a good amount of news articles and events that have transpired that basically lead us to believe that the landscape is changing.
Oh?
Yeah.
We needed news articles to show that?
Well, not to show that,
right?
But that reinforces the fact.
Yes, that is true.
That the landscape
is
changing.
Yeah, that is valid.
So we wanted to talk about Netflix and Hulu specifically, cable television, network television.
So TV is going through a
unbundled.
freaking giant, huge change. Movies less so because movie theaters, like everyone, doom and gloom, the sky is falling, movie theaters are going away, blah, blah, blah. Nope, false. Movie theaters will always be there because it is a way to get out of the house cheaply and go sit in a room with a bunch of people you don't know and laugh or cry or scream or yell. It is still fun. It will always be fun. Movie theaters will never go away.
Yeah.
The amount of people that go to the movies will fluctuate down and up like it always has,
depending on their own whims. Like, I don't think there's any.
The internet is not going to kill movie theaters any more than television killed movie theaters.
Yeah.
It will change how that is used, but it's not going away.
Wow,
Sorry.
they're building a ton in China right now too. Like all over the world.
Crap loads.
Foreign is like going crazy right now. They're building like a theater a day in China or something.
Yeah. So statistically, from 2009 until now, one screen, not a whole movie theater because they're building giant megaplexes, but one screen opens per day in China from 2009 until now. And it's like the pace is picking up because more people in China can afford to go to the movies.
So there's some cool things that have happened though in the last year or so.
Yes. Let's talk about
So let's talk about. Do you want to talk about movies first? Or
let's talk about movies first because it's less of a thing, and then we'll talk about TV after because it's more of a thing.
So the two stories that have come out, or the two things that happened in the last year, almost a year ago to the date, Snowpiercer came out.
Yep.
And that was a big news event because it was a decent budget film.
Yeah, 50-ish million.
Yeah, 30 to 50, somewhere in there.
Somewhere.
Had pretty decent name
A-list.
actors, A-list actors.
Chris Evans, he's freaking Captain America.
Yeah. And it was released day and date, which means it went on sale on VOD. So like you could buy it on iTunes the same day that it opened in theaters.
Or on your random cable provider. I know that there are people that do that. Like,
sure, but I've never done it.
I don't have cable and haven't.
Yeah.
I've never, as an adult, paid for cable.
Yeah. Yeah. Cable's dumb.
I'm 34.
Yeah.
I'm so old, dude.
You're technically an adult.
Technically. Emotionally, no.
So that was huge because, spending $50 million and you kind of want to try and recoup a lot of that through your theatrical release and then pad it with foreign sales and other windows like cable and VOD and SVOD and all that kind of stuff.
Now, one thing that does make Snowpiercer slightly different from your typical thing is it was actually produced by a Korean company. I don't know if they shot in Korea. I think they did.
I think they did too, because it was like a Korean director. And,
Yeah, Boon Jung-ho.
Yeah, sure.
Sure, that guy. He's directed some other stuff that I liked, and some stuff that I really didn't understand, because Asian cultures are different from American and Western culture. Is a thing that I have learned.
I am
in
not
my
shocked by that fact.
long life. As we've already established, I am old.
Yeah.
Sometimes the cultural things don't translate very well. Like, I watch a lot of Japanese and Korean movies, and I just, at the end of it, go, huh? Yeah, so my racism aside, it was produced in Korea, so it was a bit cheaper than you would spend on the same movie in the U.S. probably.
Sure.
Some other issues, and they had a different distribution plan. Obviously, it only made about $4.5 million in the U.S., and it only ever was on 350 screens, which is not a wide release.
Right.
But they still did a day and date with a big-ish effects movie with freaking Captain America in it.
Yeah.
That's not your typical thing.
Right. And I'm guessing they've probably broke even.
Oh, I'm sure they've made plenty of money. It did $80-something million theatrically worldwide.
Oh,
I mean, it made a ton of money in Asia.
There you go.
Obviously, because Bong Joon-ho, yes, the director, big time guy in Asia. His movies make good money over there. Yeah, and then VOD, and they did a Netflix deal that was big, and they've done other stuff.
That's called SVOD.
SVOD, streaming video, subscription video on demand. I'd seen SVOD.
SVOD.
As I like to call it.
Can we name a character SVOD one of these days?
Yes.
VOD and SVOD.
Oh, wow.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, we're going to do that.
Moving
anyway.
on. So the other cool thing that happened,
made money.
It made money, which is awesome. And the other cool thing that happened just earlier.
Also a good movie. Watch it. It's good.
The 8+1 to that. Seconded.
Yes.
Like. Retweet.
Hashtag get to the point.
The other cool thing that happened was a movie called It Follows, which was released earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I don't remember if it was Sundance or if it was South by last year.
I don't know. It was a festival movie.
It was a festival movie.
I think
we should do better research.
We should do better research.
Do better research next time.
You know what it might have been? It might have been a Fantastic Fest, because it was released by Draft House Films, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it might have been at Fantastic.
Possibly. It's a horror movie, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it got picked up from there and then distributed theatrically.
Yep.
Did we check numbers on the release?
Yeah, it did about 15 million.
But as far as how many screens?
1,200.
Yeah, so it ultimately grew to 1,200 screens. I don't think it was released.
I don't think it opened at 1,200.
It didn't open at 1,200, but it was a couple hundred.
Yeah.
And then grew to 1,200. And that was the interesting thing, because they had a deal in place where the video on demand and iTunes sales and all that stuff would kick in.
It was like 1 or 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was like a week or two after theatrical. But they had like a variable clause or something in their contract, and they basically, because it was hitting minimums and hitting thresholds and growing theatrically, they pushed back the VOD date, which was really smart, because that way you're not cutting into your theatrical if it's growing and it's getting a wider release.
Yep.
And then once it started to taper off, then they did the iTunes release so that they were still able to benefit from all the press and all the marketing they were spending on the theatrical release, which is the reason you do a day and date in the beginning.
Yeah.
Is because you don't have to spend twice as much on marketing it twice. So they still benefited from that, but they didn't eat into their profits theatrically. So really, really smart. There's a post that we'll put in the show notes.
We'll put in the show notes.
Do we have show notes?
Sure.
There will be a link.
If you listen to it in the iTunes podcast app.
Yeah. Ask Siri.
Ask Siri.
Where is the link that Darren and Alan talked about?
No, she won't know the answer to that. When you, in the podcast app, when you tap on the logo, the Film Triggers logo, and the description is there, we can put the link in that. That's what the show notes is now. It used to be a whole separate thing, but then technology marches on.
Yeah, look at you knowing stuff.
I like podcasts.
I do too.
I listen to lots of them.
So we will put a link there to a post that Tim Alamo, not his name, Tim League from Alamo Draft House.
I'm just going to start calling him Tim Alamo.
Tim Alamo.
Is that his Twitter handle?
No, it's Tim
You're
League.
just an idiot then.
I'm just an idiot.
Well, I love it. I love it.
I'm hyped up on sweat and exercise.
And
What?
hot cocoa
Who
from
knows?
this morning, Creo Brew.
Creo Brew. Oh, there are not sponsors today, by the way.
There are not sponsors basically every day.
Yeah.
It's Mormon
Okay,
coffee.
so, but look at the link and read that thing because it's great and it's cool and it shows awesome things that we just
And
mentioned.
Tim Alamo dropping knowledge.
Yeah. I'm so sorry, Tim Leak. We love you.
Please purchase and/or screen our movies someday.
Yes. So those are the two film things that I wanted to talk about, which are cool, which are showing that. Well, the other cool one that we should probably mention is the interview, which was not by choice.
No, not at all.
But
Anybody
they
that
still
thinks
made,
that
like,
it was like they decided to do this because it was a great way to get publicity and blah, blah, blah.
No.
You're an idiot. That's dumb.
That was not accurate. But they still made like 30 or 40 million in that first week of putting it up on Google Play and that kind of stuff. They made a lot of money back. And they've probably made all the money back since Netflix and
I'm sure
everywhere else.
I'm sure that the movie has, if not turned a profit yet, it will soon.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's not the way they wanted to release it, but they were able to come up with an intelligent way to get around the fact that they apparently got hacked by North Korea.
Yeah, and that North
did we ever
Korea was
find
going
out-
to bomb every single theater that like, oh, come on.
That's craziness.
Anyway, the point there is it's not a good movie, but it shows.
No, it is not.
But it shows
I
that
laughed a couple times.
it shows the potential that streaming and online has for filmmakers.
True. It is all. There are many ways to get your movie out. Theaters are not going away, so still try to do that. But I mean, you have to do very intelligent or very expensive marketing to try to have a chance in movie theaters.
Yeah. And there are plenty of circumstances where you probably shouldn't do a theatrical release. So being strategic about your release strategy and your marketing strategy is a thing to know about.
Yeah, not releasing your movie in theaters used to be a badge of shame, and it is now a badge of who cares.
Yeah. There's still some ego
Is it
attached
still a
to
badge?
it, though. Like, when you think about it, like, I want all our movies to screen in theaters because there is some prestige there, and it's like, that means you've made it to that level. It still feels that way.
It feels like a big level, and it's fun. The main reason that I want to screen our movies in theaters is, A, you know, we're shooting them for the big screen. Like, you compose your shots a bit differently if you're planning on television or a freaking iPhone versus a giant, 30-foot screen. But the other thing is, it's just fun to go to a movie theater with a whole crowd of people and like experience them laughing when you wanted them to and crying when you wanted them to and being tense when you want. It's the reason I make movies is because I made a short film one time, and the first time it ever showed, we screened it at my university for a crowd of 800 people, and they were going bonkers and having a great time, and I got addicted.
Yep.
Instantly. It was like meth. Instant addiction. Boom. First time. Hooked.
Man, remind me to never try meth.
Yeah. It's ruining my life.
The meth or the filmmaking?
Both. In order to cope with the sadness and tragedy of the filmmaking, I took up meth. And now that's hurting things.
Meth is no laughing matter, kids.
Yes, it is. We're laughing about it right now. Ha ha, meth. Okay. Guys, so... yeah.
We've officially sidetracked and derailed.
Had a baby a couple weeks ago. I've literally slept about 6 hours in the last 4 days.
Yeah.
You can tell by how stuffed up I sound.
So let's
talk about television.
Let's talk about television and how that plays into this whole conversation.
Way more than movies, because movies is basically just broadening out, right? Like there are just more options available. Television is changing completely how it works.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about that, or do you want me to talk about it?
Well, I can set up a few things. Some of the things that have happened in this last couple of months and then just like 2 days ago. First of all, HBO came unbundled from cable subscriptions.
With
and
HBO Now.
You can do HBO Now, and you can pay just for that. It's $14.99 a month or whatever, $15.99 a month. and you can get it on all your Apple devices. So it's semi-bundled to Apple.
Well, no, they've started moving off of Apple
Well,
stuff
there you
too.
go.
Yeah.
So
they
initially,
had an exclusive period for like 2 months with Apple, and
so on Apple, it was released on Apple devices on April 15th, and then now it's probably
it's not everywhere yet, but it'll be everywhere within a year,
except for Windows phones, because who cares?
Hey, 11 people. 11 people care deeply. They're all Microsoft employees.
So that was a huge thing. I mean, all of this really started back a couple years ago when Netflix started streaming and doing a lot of movies and TV shows.
Netflix was definitely
and then
a pioneer.
Hulu was another big step, which is also back in the news now because just this week they announced that Showtime is going to become unbundled from cable networks, and you can now, along with your Hulu subscription, you can tack on an extra $8.99 a month and get Showtime at a discounted price. So instead of paying $15 a month for it, which is what you'd pay either unbundled or with your cable plan, you get it for cheaper along with your Hulu Plus subscription, which apparently Hulu Plus is no longer a thing. It's just Hulu.
It's just called Hulu now.
Who cares about that?
Not any human.
But that's a big play for Hulu. It's a smart play for them.
Very smart for Hulu.
And I think it shows.
I mean, we knew that Showtime was going to have to unbundle. As soon as HBO did, Showtime was going to have to come unbundled at some point and do some kind of streaming option. Partnering with Hulu, I think, was smart for them because they get a piggyback on Hulu's already existing technology and network and everything.
They don't have to
pay for
build an app or any of that stuff.
And for Hulu, it's a huge get because it instantly puts them in the same conversation as HBO and Netflix, which is basically positioning itself to be another HBO, right? They're doing their own content. It's premium. It's got boobs a lot of the time, like HBO and Showtime. So I guess that's a thing that people like.
Apparently, the threshold for premium is boobs.
It's boobs, yeah. If you can show boobs, you're a premium channel. If you can't show boobs, you're a whatever. Not premium. Whatever.
I don't know that I stand by that comment, but so that's big news because it just means that there's more options for filmmakers to get movies onto distribution channels that have millions of people subscribe to those things. So if you, for example, self-distribute, if you use like VHX.com or Yekra, or you do a tug release theatrically or whatever, you're limited to what you yourself and your dollars can do and that reach. But if you can get your movie or TV show on Hulu or on Netflix or on HBO Showtime, all of a sudden you have millions of subscribers who can potentially get that in an email or see it as a featured item when they log in. Like, it's massive. It's huge. So one example of that is the Rocket Jump guys.
Yeah. So Rocket Jump, it's the team who they started as the Freddie W channel on YouTube in 2010. And then they made Video Game High School, VGHS, they funded it about half the first season from a Kickstarter. And then they've done Kickstarters for the other 2 seasons and, grown their funding base from there. They also established Rocket Jump, which is they're calling it a digital something studio, whatever. Anyway, it's a bunch of kids. Literally, they have 2 or 3 employees who are over the age of 30. Everyone is in their 20s. They're all very intelligent, obviously, and they've worked really hard, and they've been doing a lot of work since 2010, and before that, doing little, straight to DVD movies and stuff. But they, they did their own show and basically willed into being this show, Video Game High School, which starts off feeling very YouTuber-y, and by season 3 feels very much like a pretty high quality cable TV show. And based on the success of that, they were able to get a first look deal with Lionsgate. They came up with an idea for a show, which is basically make shorts, which is what they've been doing for a long time, but make them bigger and badder, and do a reality show about how you do that, kind of behind the scenes. They took that to Lionsgate. Lionsgate said, well, this looks neat. I bet Hulu would like this. So Lionsgate and Rocket Jump went over to Hulu, and Hulu said, we do like this, to the tune of, I have to assume somewhere between $2 and $3 million for 8 episodes.
Yeah.
Because looking at what they like, the kinds of gear that they have, knowing what they spent on previous seasons of VGHS, and knowing the shoot time. They just wrapped up shooting, and it was 4 weeks.
Jeez.
22 days.
Yeah.
Total. They got between 2 and 3. It might be a bit more than 3 million. I'm not sure, but I would assume somewhere between $2 and $3 million.
Yeah.
And these are literally kids who started off as YouTubers and have never released anything not on YouTube.
Yeah, and now they're just making an original show for,
And it's
Hulu.
It's an original television show for Hulu, which, you know, with the partnership with Showtime, is at this point you have to kind of consider it at least, you know, a high-end cable channel / premium channel. I mean, that's sort of the
they have
the range you're talking about.
A couple of Hulu original series.
Yep, they're Hulu
and
originals.
Some of them do fairly well,
Yeah.
from my understanding. Like, they're getting name actors on there, and they're getting, you know, season 2, 3, 4. Like,
Yeah.
you don't keep putting money into something if people aren't watching it, or if it doesn't add to your subscriber
if you're not
base.
making money or on, you know, with Netflix and HBO and Hulu, if you're not adding subscribers based on the back of those shows, you cancel them.
Yeah.
Like, it's a business. That's what happens. Right. They are obviously making enough money to continue adding subscribers and doing these things, and they are taking a bet on these Rocket Jump guys, and more power to them. I'm a huge fan of Rocket Jump. I've been following their career basically since they started.
Yeah.
I really like what they do, but that is huge. Like, that example means that you, any jerk USA, you can, if you work hard and are intelligent and you make stuff that people want to watch, you can work your way into doing that. And the impressive thing about Rocket Jump is they didn't make some stuff that was good and then go off to a studio and beg and plead and get some money to make something that they don't want to make. They're just hired guns to work on the next whatever movie. Like, yeah, they get to do their own thing with essentially no studio oversight whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, and they have another show in development too, right?
They have another show in development that's like I guess kind of a Twilight Zone-y kind of thing.
Do we know where that's ending
Dimension 404. I don't know if it has a home yet. They haven't announced anything. But I assume because of the first look with Lionsgate, I assume Lionsgate is confident because they've spent a year and a fair amount of money developing the show. And they have some other stuff that they're working on as well that they haven't talked about openly. But, like, it's impressive. They have more than one thing in the works at any given time, and all of it is their own stuff, and it's all so far distributed online.
Yeah.
Part of the thing with their Hulu show is, so each episode, it's a half-hour show. Each episode is, you know, behind-the-scenes stuff and the short that they made. But they still own the shorts, and they can put them on YouTube, and they own the YouTube revenue for that.
Jeez. That's
awesome. That's awesome. And YouTube revenue, I mean, it's not nothing, but it's not enough to support large-scale narrative stuff yet.
On its own, no.
On its own, yet. But Google, of course, because they make money on the ads as well, they're doing everything they can to convince companies that YouTube is a more valuable advertising platform than television, which it is. But the traditional advertisers haven't figured that out yet. Sometime in the next 5 years, the ad spend rates on YouTube are going to skyrocket. And then at that point, it's suddenly going to make sense. Like, if you can build a following of 1 million people on YouTube, you're going to be able to make a living and employ people to make a television show. Not Game of Thrones, not House of Cards, but you'll be able to make a show for $100,000 an episode.
Yeah.
And you can employ 10 people. If you're making 10 episodes of that a year, you can keep 10 people employed very comfortably making a show.
Yep. And probably drive a Tesla.
And you can probably get yourself a Tesla.
Not 10 of them, just put like one.
One, yeah.
You can have like a company Tesla that everybody shares.
That's weird.
That would be weird.
Yeah. Who would want to share a Tesla?
It's like sharing a toothbrush.
We also know that Apple is working on a cable replacement thing. It hasn't been announced officially, but there are lots of rumors coming out of the TV industry and out of, people at Apple and stuff. They're going to come out with a new Apple TV soon. Part of that is going to be a subscription-based thing that'll be, I've heard rumors anywhere from $20 to $40, and it will replace cable. So it's not going to be all 800 channels or whatever that you get on cable, but nobody watches all of them anyway.
No.
So it'll be the main channels that you want to watch, and you will not have to have cable anymore. It'll just come through your internet into your Apple TV, and you'll be able to take it everywhere. It won't be wired to your house.
Yeah.
It will go everywhere your phone goes, etc.
Well, and Comcast has been trying to do that for a while, I think, with their Xfinity stuff and all their...
They've been trying to make it more mobile. They don't want to unbundle...
No. You still have a full 800-channel package that you have to buy, but you can watch it anywhere if you have it.
They're trying to do that. But still, the way that works is it sends it to your house, and then it streams from your house through the internet to you, which is asinine.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's really stupid. And it's because, Comcast, like, I understand why they're doing it. Their business is we build a giant network that goes into your house, and we want to...
Well, there's
make sure that
potentially
there's
some
stuff
legal.
to go through there.
There's potentially some legal ramifications if they stream it, as opposed to you're streaming it from a single.
Yeah, I'm
place.
sure there's a lot of contract language that's built into their stuff. I mean, they have a vested interest in protecting what they built. The problem is their business model was developed literally in the early 70s.
Yeah, and
hasn't dramatically changed since then, aside from they added, you can buy internet from us, except it's the internet and you're going to hate it. Get Google Fiber or freaking Verizon Fios would even be better. So they have a vested interest in protecting their business model. The trouble is their business model doesn't work. And in the face of, if Apple can put together this TV package bundly thing, basically overnight that destroys the TV industry the way it works right now.
Yeah. Well, and if there's any one company that could pull that off,
it's Apple. Yeah. I mean, a lot of little startups can get there over 5 or 10 years. Apple can do it in a day.
Yeah, with one big announcement.
They can destroy the television industry completely, which is coming. And when I say destroy, that doesn't mean it's all going away, set your hair on fire and run around. What it means is everything's going to come unbundled and uncoupled. It's going to be slightly harder to break through the noise than it is now, but there's already a ton of noise. And what it means is you're less likely as a television creator to be a multimillionaire, but a lot more people are going to be able to earn a good to very good living making really interesting stuff. There are going to be a lot more options.
And what I'm excited about is I think less shows will be canceled because, first of all, who's going to tell them that they're canceled?
Right.
Like, if you just want to make a show and make it available on Apple streaming service, you can do that. As long as you're profitable, you can keep going.
Yeah.
But it does away with time slots.
Yep.
Which is one of the dumbest things that TV has as a constraint.
The only thing where time slots are going to matter is live events. So mostly sporting, stuff like that. And that's totally fine. That makes perfect sense. And you should
for sure
have that. I love sports. Darren, not so much, but I love them.
I love live events, though.
Yeah.
Like music and award shows and whatever else.
What NBC did Sound of Music, what was that, a year ago?
Yeah.
That was incredible.
That was fun.
It was a lot. And then Peter Pan was the one they did this year, right? I didn't watch that one. Sound of Music was great. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And
it's fun because it's live and it's like, what if the set catches fire?
Yeah.
Like,
what if someone slips and falls and says the F word?
Yeah. No, it's there's an immediacy to live television which you can't replicate anywhere else, but trying to fake that with a show that was produced 2 months ago and then you have to have it at a time slot so that you can have water cooler talk about it isn't a thing anymore.
Yeah.
The thing now is binge release it like Netflix does, and the water cooler talk the next week is, what episode are you on? Oh, let's talk about these 3 things. I can't tell you about the spoilers because we're the spoilers, but like...
Yeah.
That's what...
Yeah, adapt or die.
Yeah.
Technology changes things, get over it.
And in this case, I genuinely believe technology is going to change things for the better. It's going to take...
Yes.
It's going to take the power out of the hands of network executives who do not care about television quality.
Yeah.
They care about the bottom line. And it's going to put it in the hands of the creators and the people who work with the creators to market stuff that are going to create amazing television and amazing shows that wouldn't otherwise get made, and they'll be able to make it because they'll be able to make a good living doing it. They're not going to be ultra mega zillionaires like, you know, current TV execs are. Like, if you're a showrunner on any network show, you make a crap ton of money.
Mm-hmm.
And that's great. It's a huge amount of work. I don't mind that they get paid a lot. I would much rather see there be 50 showrunners who make $500,000 a year than 5 showrunners who make, I can't do that math off the top of my head, 10 million.
20 million.
So 5 showrunners who make $5 million a year, I would rather see 50 showrunners making $500,000 a year.
Yeah.
And obviously on $500,000 a year, you're living just fine. Even in Los Angeles, you're doing okay.
Yeah.
But man, 50 great shows or 10 great shows and 40 turds versus 1 great show and 4 turds.
Yeah.
I'll take the 10 great shows, thanks.
Yeah. Even though the ratio is the same, you end up with more great shows.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the point.
Well, and more interesting stuff. I mean, all of the best television almost always happens because nobody believed in it or cared.
Yeah.
Like, the only reason some of the great shows of our generation, like the only reason Lost happened is because it got greenlit by a guy who got fired because he greenlit the most expensive pilot ever.
$4 million or something?
No, the pilot was way more than that. It was
Really?
like $12 million for the
Holy
pilot.
crap.
It was super expensive. But then, so he got fired, and then they saw the pilot, and they're like, well, this is good. We'll pick it up. But after it had gotten picked up, nobody cared because nobody thought it would do anything. So nobody was checking in on it. So the creators were just like, oh, go hog wild. Woo! Polar bears. Like, they were able to just go crazy.
Smoke monster.
Because nobody was checking up on them.
Yeah. That'll
Like
be glorious.
The same thing happened with Buffy. The same thing. I mean, like, all of the great shows that you think of, 90% of them happened because no one at the network was thinking about it.
Nice. Yeah, if we do away with just the superfluous upper echelon of network execs, like, I'm totally fine with that plan.
Yeah.
Because they make so much money for
they don't
not
contribute
having
anything.
any creative input or contributing anything
And it's
other
hard
than
to say. I mean, there are plenty of network execs who, you know, do a good job and care about TV and whatever. But there are so many random, bureaucratic, horrible nightmares that just they don't add anything and they slow everything down.
Yeah. As a whole, it's just a waste of money, and it's a massive amount of overhead for each one of these shows that gets picked up and has to carry that burden.
Yeah.
Which isn't fair.
Well, and I'd much rather let the, you know, I hate to get all capitalist, but let the market decide.
Yeah.
If you've got a good idea or you think it's a good idea, make it and put it out. And if you can gain a following, giddy up. You got a show. If you can't, well, sorry.
Yeah.
You know, you and your grandmother who thinks you're a special snowflake will complain to the universe, but that's it.
But if she's a really rich grandma, then maybe you still have
Maybe you can make another show.
Yeah.
So
she could be your advertising.
So our message is make a good show or have a rich grandma.
Yeah. It's like life lessons right there. Brought to you by Film Triggers Podcast.
There you go.
Well, that was a good convo.
It was.
Our not sponsored today, as mentioned before, is Creo Brew.
Creo Brew. It's delicious.
Oh my gosh. This stuff's so good. And it works with my ketogenic diet that I'm on.
Yay.
Which means it's low carb.
Right. As
and
long
delicious.
as you don't put sugar in it.
But you can put creamer in it.
You can put creamer in it.
Creamer is not high in sugar or any of that stuff.
Right. Are you using the Faco creamer or like milk?
No, it's like the I guess what you could call Faco creamer. It's like who makes that stuff? Big blue bottle of French vanilla creamer.
Yeah, I don't know because I don't drink coffee. So, Coffee Mate?
Yeah, maybe.
Is that what it's called?
It's not powder stuff. It's like half and half, but it's flavored.
Right. Yeah. Whatever. I read the ingredients on those, and it makes me worried because it seems like it's probably a toxic soup, but it tastes delicious.
Oh man, it's good.
Yeah.
I just wish that the 1 Million Cups guys would brew it right because it's so
they
watered down.
And they burn it half the time.
Anyway.
But Creo Brew, it's like coffee, but it's cocoa beans instead of coffee beans.
Yeah. It's so
and you
good.
can grind it and roast it.
And it's actually good for you. It's like got antioxidants and
yeah, because
healthy
it's
stuff.
cocoa beans, and cocoa is full of good stuff.
Yeah. It's amazing.
And
Love
it
that
has
stuff.
way less caffeine than coffee, so you don't get jitters.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a tiny bit of it, but not much.
Yeah. You'd have to drink like 2 gallons
You have to drink a crap load to really
to match
feel
like
it.
a shot of espresso. But
Yep.
but hey, thanks for listening, and do all the awesome stuff that listeners do on podcasts. Like, if you found this link somehow not through subscribing on iTunes, then you should remedy that and go subscribe
on iTunes. It's
and
good.
if you don't have iTunes on your phone, then go to Stitcher, because we're on
You can
there
do
as
Stitcher.
well.
There's a Stitcher app too, right? If you're
There
on
is
Android.
a Stitcher app.
Yeah, so download us on iTunes and Stitcher. I'm Alan Seawright. You can find me on Twitter. You can find us at Telekinesis ENT on Twitter, or Telekinesis Entertainment on Instagram, Facebook.
Telekinesis Studios on YouTube.
Telekinesis Studios on YouTube.
I'm on LinkedIn.
Darren's on LinkedIn.
I've got a Rex account. Have you heard of Rex?
I don't know what that is.
Rex is a cool app.
That's Darren. Darren at Darren Smith.
Yeah.
I think we're done.
One of these
This
days,
is
I'm
really
going to go buy the, because the guy that owns the @Darren account, like, has tweeted 4 times or something.
What a jerk.
So I kind of want just the @Darren on Twitter.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Because anytime you have like a one name thing, that means you were
That's
like
impressive.
an early adopter and like you're awesome by
You're rad.
default.
Super rad.
So should have thought about that.
You know what frustrates the heck out of me? So in the early 90s, I came up with, this won't matter to you because you don't play video games.
Nope.
But my name in video games is always Dyslexicon.
Uh-huh.
And I freaking came up with that in the early 90s. And for 6 or 7 years, no one ever took it, ever. Because I invented it. It was me. I'm almost positive I invented this name. And then it started getting taken all the time. And I got just so mad. So sometimes if someone else has snaked my name, I have to use real Dyslexicon because I'm the real one.
Well, I completely 100% appreciate that story.
Right? Even though you don't play video
Even though I
games.
don't play video games.
I am Dyslexicon on Xbox Live.
Hey.
So if you find me there, I don't have an Xbox right now, but that is me. But as soon as I get one, we'll play games together. It'll be fun. We'll play some Halo.
But can you message you?
Yeah, you can message people and like you can do video messages and stuff with the little camera
poke or
thing.
kick you
I don't know.
via the internet?
I'm
Whoever
sure,
creates
I'm sure
that
you can do
app,
something.
like crotch kick, and it's just like it needs to be
Would you
like,
have to wear like a haptic
I don't
force
know.
feedback?
I don't know.
Like
I'm sure there's
jock
like
strap?
there's got to be a frequency that exists, because you know how there's like the frequency that makes you crap your pants.
Oh yeah.
So there's got to be a frequency that gives you the sensation that you just got kicked in the nuts without the actual physical contact.
Well, let's contact DARPA and get them to
And
spend a
then
few $100 million
Let's create a crotch
developing
kick
that
app that you can send a kick
from your phone.
from your phone to your buds.
I think that would, honestly, sadly, I think that would be huge. It's the stupidest idea ever, and we would sell gajillions of dollars of it. If it cost 99 cents per crotch kick,
Oh,
can you
yeah.
imagine how much money we would make?
Oh man, kick in the nuts. It's called kick in the nuts.
Kick in the nuts, yeah.
Oh, I want that to exist. I don't want to receive a kick
That's
in the
the
nuts.
thing. I don't want to receive it. But so that's what it is. You download the app, and for 99 cents, you can kick anybody you want in the nuts. For $5, you can block all incoming nut kicks.
Or you have to.
Or it's a $2 a month subscription to block all nut kicks. It's a subscription service. So you can just delete it off your phone and you won't ever get kicked in the nuts. But if you want to kick other people in the nuts, you have to be open to it or pay to not. Dude, we're going to make so much money. So much money. Our business model is solid.
The end of this episode has really devolved to the
Into
point of
awesomeness.
to the point of kicking each other in the nuts. I
And
really
with that-
want to figure that out.
And with that, I kick you in the nuts. Good day, sir.
Thanks for listening.